guys, how are you doing? So I am Karam Kaur from BBest Consultants. So welcome all of you for the live. Today we're going to be talking about the most desired study destination, and that is Canada. That has been one of the most desired study destination because of its high quality education and also the kind of scholarships which are being provided by the Canadian institutions. So today we have Mervyn Paul. Hi Mervyn, how are you doing?
Hi Karan, doing very well.
Yeah, he is from Canada and he is the International Recruitment Officer for Apply Board. So we're going to be listening a lot from him. And Mervyn, before we start, we already have a lot of questions, especially for Canada, which have been pouring in. So today we would like to have updates about the questions like, how is Canada going on with the COVID times? What is the education system doing? And also the IRCC has recently announced its new updates. So definitely we would like to know about that and a lot of other advices, whatever you can give. So I have a long list of questions which has been posted to us beforehand. We've got a lot of WhatsApp messages and emails and how is the education system going on, any changes. So to start with, Mervyn, can we start or would you like to say something before we start?
Yes. So first of all, I would like to thank BBest for this opportunity and to speak to
Thank you.
students.
Thank you so much, Mervyn.
No, it's my pleasure, and it's actually it's studying in Canada is actually a privilege, and working with partners like BBest, students have the opportunity to get the right information at the right time. They will get unbiased information about studying in Canada and also focusing on what's right for them and their career paths. So now coming towards Canada, Canada remains one of the few countries that still has its arms open for international students.
So true, so true.
Rather than creating barricades, they have opened their doors for international students. Schools and colleges and universities have made it more flexible for students to study online. Now, it's a little difficult for international students to understand the importance of online studies because students come to Canada with a focus to integrate into the culture.
See, I'll sorry, Mervyn, but
a
lot of students, what they feel is that, the whole idea of international education is kind of lost when they opt for an online education. So, obviously, there is no point is what they feel. They would certainly want to go and enjoy that international culture. The whole prime reason for the exposure, living in the international community with a lot of other communities there. So, obviously, what do you say about that?
Again, the country has not stopped that yet, So there is still opportunities for the students to come in and enjoy that. Unfortunately, given the situation around the pandemic, what the country is saying is that you can just wait for 3 to 4 months, and once the doors open up, everything is settled down, you can definitely come back to Canada. And given the recent update with the IRCC, where the students can now apply online and there's a 2-phase study permit approval process, it looks like things are in place and students can actually look at coming back very soon. On the academic front, I would still recommend that students start taking up online classes because as per the government's approval, students can take up to 50% of their course online and still be eligible for the full-time PGWP, the postgraduate work permit.
So basically the online study is not putting a halt to their opportunity to further, get on to the post-study work permits. That's what you're saying. So is there any deduction in the, regular timing of the post-study? Because that's also a confusion what the students have that, is it like as they were getting minimum 2 to 3 years of work permit according to the course which they've opted for. So, that confusion, can you just give some solution to the confusion there? That is it going to be for 2 years, or it's going to be reduced down, or how is that?
No. So students who do a 2-year program in Canada, they are still eligible for the 3-year work permit.
Work permit, okay.
Up to 3 years. Up to 3 years. So
okay.
it depends. So it depends on the visa, on the case officer, how they judge your file. But 99% of all students who do a 2-year program are getting a 3-year work permit. If you do a 1-year program, then you end up getting a 1-year work permit. But if you do a 2-year program, you end up getting a 3-year work permit. But students, once they come here for a 1-year program, they realize the importance of doing a second program, do an add-on, and end up applying for a second program and get a 3-year work permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that because obviously Canada is known for its route to the citizenship as well, because a lot of students have that plus point in mind, and then they opt for Canadian education. So is that online education, in case if they happen to go ahead with the online education, so is that going to make any kind of difference to their permanent settlement routes?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. On the contrary, it will actually fast track it, because students who end up taking online classes in the fall, they can finish their coursework faster, which will then entitle them to apply for a PGWP and then get into the workforce faster than students who come for the spring 21 intake. Now, keep in mind that once they come into the fall intake, there'll be more courses to be offered, right? Because it's online. So faculty will be more flexible to end up taking more students in the classroom, right? As in compared to a hybrid model where there is a mix and match of online plus physical presence in the class. So this will not affect a student's potential permanent residency pathway, and neither will it affect their chances of employability. Because here in Canada, employers look at skill set.
Okay.
Degree. So if a student has a balanced skill set with a degree from a public college, they are very much employable within the Canadian workforce.
So what do you mean by public? I mean, is it like if they study in a private college, they are not eligible or entitled for a PSW?
Yes, so students who end up studying in a private college are not eligible for the postgraduate work permit. So it is highly recommended that students apply if they are looking at staying back in Canada and they want to apply for the 3-year PGWP and then apply for the permanent residency. It is highly recommended that they apply for within the Canadian public college system.
To be a little more precise, Mervyn, can you redefine the term private? Because there are many colleges and universities which are actually private, like Canada West or Trent University, many of it. So can you just redefine the word private? I mean, what are you trying to tell me? That a college like maybe Matrix? So is it like students shouldn't be going to that college?
No, I didn't mean that. So what
exactly.
I meant is when I say private schools, private colleges, there are some programs within private colleges that are PGWP approved as well. So if you are looking to, if you like the course at a particular private college, I will recommend that you take a look at the IRCC website and ensure that if it's a private college and that school and that program with that private college is eligible for PGWP, then I would recommend that you can go ahead and apply for it. There is no difference in the course delivery and the quality of the course as compared between a public and a private school. But when it comes to PGWP eligibility, the government has strict rules, and there are certain programs within a private college which tick all the check boxes which the government was looking for.
So basically, the eligibility of the postgraduate, the work visa is going to be, the post-study work visa is going to be defined onto the university or the institution, which is very clearly mentioned on the government websites, what you're talking about. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
So to start with, a lot of parents have been very worried, and especially for the students who are already studying there, and or maybe in the coming days once the travel options are open. So they are a little confused about, like, as in, how is Canada fighting against the COVID?
So when the COVID, when the pandemic hit Canada, the first thing that they did is they actually shut down all the businesses, and they started rolling out in phases.
Okay.
So right now, I'm a resident of Ontario. So we are right now in phase 3. So in Ontario, I live in Waterloo. So right now we are in phase 3, whereas the Peel region is still in phase 2. So what the province of Ontario has done is they have gone into emergency route. So where they started first with not having more than 2 people in a group. Then once phase 2 started, they allowed that the number of people to go up to 5. Now phase 3 has gone up to 100 people. So what they have done is they have put in strict policies in place to wear masks, social distancing, plastic shields. And wherever possible, if there is an outbreak, students have been encouraged to download the province's local app to check where these hotspots are. So they'll be encouraged not to visit those spots.
Right.
Again, the government has also made special provisions for students, both international and domestic. In case they have lost their jobs, they can apply for the student serve. That is the Canadian emergency benefit. Okay. If they have lost their jobs due to COVID. So Canada is one of those few countries that is actually opening up its policies for both international and domestic students. Unlike other countries where it's put a lot of barricades in place, Canada is known to open its arms out for people from different nationalities. Right. Yes, and now and they understand the importance of international students because they integrate so well into the community. They also end up spending overall about $2 billion Canadian dollars and spend that money into the economy. And the government realizes that. That's the reason there's this flexibility into an immigration pathway following into potential citizenship.
Wow, great. So, I think IRCC has done a great job with the kind of clarity what they've given to the international students, especially with the announcement which was made on 14th of July. So, can you just tell me something more about it?
So, with the recent news, what IRCC has confirmed is that students can now apply for their study permit, and the approval will come within 2 phases. So the first phase will be an in-principle approval letter that will be granted if the student shows that they have a unconditional offer letter from a designated learning institute. It could be both public or private. And if they show the ability to finance their studies, once they have covered these points, then the IRC provides a in-principle approval letter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then following which, once the final approval comes in, once there is clarity on letting international students into the country,
true.
Then the CIC will start processing the final approval letters, which will be dependent on a biometrics check and
medical
a
and the PCs.
checkup, and if required, a police report. Yes.
Exactly. Right. So, Mervyn, yet we have a lot of confusions in terms of the SDS and the non-SDS applications because of the proficiency tests. So, what is your say on it? Like, is it only IELTS what a student could be applying with? And now because a lot of institutions have started issuing offer letters which are on conditions, like even if the student does not have a desired score of the English proficiency, he or she can at the minute apply and get a conditional offer letter, which was never there before, especially with the colleges, you know. So can you just give me a little more clarity about the English proficiency test about it, like which one is taken, and if a student has a PT or a Duolingo, so is it considered under an SDS or a non-SDS profile?
Given the current scenario, because the SDS is focused on certain specific components of the visa application, where one component of the visa application is an IELTS. So unfortunately, I will not be able to comment on SDS versus non-SDS, but what I can definitely say is students who have a conditional offer letter, they are highly recommended to take the Duolingo test and get an unconditional offer letter and apply for the visa, because what I mentioned earlier about the first phase of the IRCC's in-principle approval letter is an unconditional offer letter. So there it does not mention anything about an IELTS. So the unconditional offer letter from the school will specifically mention the student has met the English proficiency requirements, following which in the last phase of the visa application process, if the student ends up taking an IELTS and if they want to strengthen their visa case, they can take up the IELTS and upload the revised IELTS form through the IRCC web form. At this point of time, because of the current situation that we are in, I foresee a lot of flexibility with the visa processing. And I don't think the CIC is going to be too adamant about SDS versus non-SDS, but they will be looking at a student's offer letter very closely. So if the student has to take up a Duolingo, I will highly recommend that they take up the Duolingo and get the unconditional offer letter, so they are in a better position when they apply for the visa.
Visa, right. So, in the prevailing conditions, because Canadian education is talking about a hybrid model where the students can take 6 months of their courses here, like the first semester here, which is online, and the next semester they could be joining there in Canada. I mean, it's all up to the conditions, as in how the conditions going to be improving or not or whatever. So any special scholarships which are being provided to the students? Because Canada is known for scholarships, so I mean, any set criterias?
So at the moment, so it depends from school to school, it depends from province to province. So there are a couple of schools in Alberta that are providing a bursary of anywhere between $500 to $1,000. I know that Algoma University is also providing a scholarship of anywhere between $1,000 to $500 to $1,000 for their programs. And a lot of universities have also reduced or have completely cancelled their ancillary costs. So in addition to the tuition fees, students would have to pay different ancillary costs if they were on campus.
Okay.
So that could be anywhere between $200 to $300 on a semester basis. Mm-hmm. So they're actually saving that. Additionally, since they don't have to, if they end up doing online courses back home, they don't have to pay for food or for housing, right? So the students end up saving another $500 to $1,000 there. But adding to your question about scholarships, it depends from school to school. Schools have definitely kept scholarships open for international students, anywhere between $500 to $1,000.
No, I just wanted to ask about the special COVID scholarships. I mean, anything which is introduced specially to kind of encourage the students to take up the online courses.
At the moment, a lot of schools have not brought out any specific scholarships.
Okay.
But they are encouraging students to check in with the admissions team if they are keen to accept their offer. There are some spot scholarships that these colleges can offer. I will recommend the student to check in with their specific schools where they have offer letters from, and they can check in with them 100%. But yes, there are some schools that are offering them, but not a lot of them have gone to the extent of awarding it as an open scholarship, but more as a short-term bursary for the September intake.
Many parents have asked this question as well, that because now we are wanting that, the institutions are wanting that the students should start with the online education. So will that not make a difference to the kind of exposure or the projects which they could be doing in case if they were on campus?
Let's keep in mind that the faculty who teach these courses are actually from the industry.
Okay.
So if the students end up doing these courses online, in all honesty, there are no other disturbances, there are no other commitments that they have. So if they end up doing these projects and getting a higher grade, this impresses the faculty. Okay. And the faculty then remembers this, and then once it comes around to give opportunities for paid or unpaid internships, performance in these classes and these projects come a long way.
Okay.
So I know a couple of my friends who went to Fanshawe College. They did the 1-year program in general business or human resources, and they had 2 major projects which they completed. This is while they were on campus.
Right.
But what I'm trying to bring out the factor is that they completed the project and got an A grade, and the professor recommended them for a paid internship once they finished, and that paid internship converted into a full-time job.
Great.
So what I'm trying to reiterate here is that students really need to focus on their academics, and while they're studying in India, since they don't have many disturbances, they should really attempt to complete the project and attain a higher grade. These higher grades will give them brownie points to talk to the professors and allow them to get at least talk about a potential paid or unpaid internship.
True, very true.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any special advice, Mervyn, from your side to the students who are looking ahead for Canada?
I will highly recommend that they take a strong look at starting classes at the fall for the upcoming September 20 intake. Because if you end up deferring to the spring intake, you end up elongating your chances of applying for a postgraduate work permit. The number of courses that are offered in the January intake are not as much as the September intake. If you end up taking your classes online in India, you end up saving anywhere between $500 to $1,000 on ancillary expenses, food, housing, and also transportation. Because again, transportation here is not cheap, neither is it expensive. Although your ancillary fees do cover the cost of transportation, you can end up saving that money if you are in India. I will highly recommend that apply for get an unconditional offer letter, apply for your visa now, because once you're almost halfway there. So I'll take this opportunity, and because of the current situation that we are in, there could be a decent amount of flexibility as well with your visa permit application.
Okay, one last question, which on my WhatsApp message I've just got it. The student asks, is there any benefit of choosing universities over colleges, or what do you recommend? I mean, how should a student distinguish between choosing a diploma program or a bachelor's or a master's in a university?
It all boils down to the overall course delivery. I think, as I mentioned earlier, that the government has put specific ordinances in place, and they're very strict about it because they do an annual audit. So these public colleges have to keep up their course delivery up to a certain standard. So if there is no difference within the course delivery, like let's say if it's a graduate certificate from, let's say, in cyber security from SU College, versus a master's program of computer science from university in Canada, I can assure you that that there won't be much of a difference within the course delivery, and neither will there be much of a difference when it comes to your employability, because again it drives down to your skill set. What have you done to integrate your academic skill set into a practical skill set, right?
Okay.
So there is no, I would not make any major differences between a public college and a university. The universities in Canada are more research focused. So if a student is looking at taking up research, moving into a PhD or a Masters of Science, focus on a thesis delivery, then I would recommend going in for a university. But if you're looking at a course-based program, I would highly recommend a college, because these colleges, the courses range anywhere between 1 to 2 years. You can also bundle a course, let's say one course from Centennial College plus another college, let's say another course from Sheldon College, and you can still apply for a clear work permit.
True.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Mervyn. It was a pleasure having you here live with us, and thank you for sharing all the knowledge. A pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. So guys, here was Mervyn, and we got to know a lot from him because he's based out of Canada. Maybe it was a little easy and quick access to him. So we will quickly recap what all we've heard. So the most important thing that yes, it is definitely fair to start up with the online courses, because Canada as a destination has given a very clear vision that it is not going to affect the post-study work visa, nor it is going to affect your route to the citizenship there. At the same time, the IRCC has come up with the new rules which are very clear, where the visa, because a lot of students hold the admissions in hand and were waiting to file the visas ahead. So guys, you can go ahead quickly, because IRCC update says that the visa today has been divided into two. One phase talks about where only the desired academics required, the unconditional letter, the financials can be put across with the English proficiency test, and you can have a quick AIP, which is the approval in principle in hand, and go ahead with your online classes looking into the health conditions, and also it will save on your time and money both, as Mervyn was also talking about. And once the travel route opens, you can quickly have an access, submit your biometrics, submit your PCC and medicals, and fly to Canada. So that's all what we had to share today for Canada. So next week we are planning to come up with the English proficiency tests, the comparison chart. At the same time, we have a lot of questions where the students want to know that which test for which country and the patterns of the tests. So see you soon, and be safe, and I hope you remember that Be Best does everything to make you the best. Thank you guys. Pleasure being with you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care. Thank you.